In this video, we review the full Akrapovic race exhaust and up map on the Ducati Streetfighter V4S. We compare sounds and decibel ratings to stock and review the dyno results. Let's do work. The Akrapovic exhaust system is an exclusive accessory to the Ducati Streetfighter V4. It is made of a highly heat-resistant titanium alloy, shaving off a massive 12 pounds of weight. It includes a Ducati-approved up map. It increases horsepower and torque by 6% across the power band, and includes carbon fiber heat shields. The price for this full exhaust system installed is around $8,000 US. I rate this DIY install level as expert level, as the bike has to completely come apart and the up map is essential. Please keep in mind when you see my bike, I had my system powder coated black, which is not a factory option. Also, keep in mind during these sound tests, I have my dB killers out. That said, like you, I paid a lot of money for this 2022 Ducati Streetfighter V4S. Why? Because I wanted to go right to the razor's edge of viscerality, and on top of that spend, I spent more for mods, and then spent almost as much money as a whole new motorcycle on the full Akrapovic exhaust system. FYI, I know you want to jump to the exhaust clips, but this is a full review for those considering dropping a lot of money on this system, so please keep it locked in for some critical information first. So why do we spend a car's worth of money on a high-end motorcycle and then turn around and spend a motorcycle's worth of money on an exhaust? Well, first up, as you already know, an aftermarket exhaust completes the bike and frees it up to run as the manufacturer actually intended. The bikes are designed for maximum performance, and then somewhere in the production line, they are stifled by government regulations such as CATs and dB killers, which emasculate our two-wheeled rockets. Full exhausts free up that stifled horsepower, torque, and sound and lightness and smell we all love. And the rest is history. But you already knew that. So why spend around $8,000 for this exhaust when you can get a $2,500 exhaust for this bike that will pretty much have similar results? Because this Akrapovic system works best with the Streetfighter V4 motorcycle. The map supplied makes it possible to adapt all the parameters of Ducati traction control, wheelie control, power launch, and stability control to the new performance and weight of the motorcycle. I am a perfectionist who admittedly can never actually get anything perfect, but I did want my 200+ motorcycle to be as dialed in as possible. So is that worth $8,000? Maybe or maybe not. But one thing is for sure, these exhausts look and sound epic. So get your ears ready to be rocked, because boys, it's time to thrash some throttle. Let's do work. Streetfighter V4 has one of the best sounding stock exhausts I've ever heard. However, no stock exhaust can beat the ferocity of this Akrapovic system, especially with the DP killers removed. It's loud, but it doesn't make the motorcycle obnoxiously loud. However, you know when you twist that throttle, she's breathing well. A couple quick notes before the dyno chart. My system has a few extras like a Pro Tune and velocity stacks to squeeze out the full potential of this bike, so if you want to see my results, I recommend those upgrades as well. So as you can see here, a massive lift to just under 200 horsepower to the wheel, or a huge 32 horsepower gain, a 13-point gain in torque, which as you can see gives you a nice gain all across the power band, and hold on to your handlebars after 8,000 RPM because the shisa is about to get real. So according to my calculations, this is about 235 to 240 horsepower to the crank, also known as a good investment. Okay, maybe it's not an investment unless you count smiles as profit, but it's pretty epic nonetheless. So overall, about a 240 horsepower rating on this bike, which is insane. Here's my methodology. Horsepower equals wheel horsepower times 1 divided by 1 minus the drivetrain loss. On motorcycles, loss from the crank to the wheel is usually 15 to 20%. So if we look at our wheel horsepower at 196.99, we get a high horsepower of 246 horsepower to the crank, or an average using 17.5%, which is between 15 and 20% of 239 horsepower, or we can use the lowest drivetrain loss estimate of 15% and get a horsepower of 232. I think we're going to be more along the average here, because if we take the claimed 208 horsepower from the factory and add the raw gain here of 31.5 horsepower, we get 240 horsepower. So ultimately, this bike with a few mods, a smoking hot exhaust from Akrapovic, and a custom tune unleashes the full Panigale beast in this Streetfighter V4S. So once again, we're looking at an almost 32 horsepower gain to a crank horsepower of 240. Would you pay $8,000 for a 32 horsepower gain? Kind of pricey, but when I twist that throttle, I can tell you it's worth every penny. Which exhaust did you or are you going to get with your Streetfighter? Let's discuss in the comments below. Stay tuned for a comparison of this bike to my friend's V4 SP2 with his Austin racing system coming up next week. Once again, if you like unique motorcycles, cars, and man stuff, then hit that subscribe right now to join the journey. And until then, always remember the motto, always be kinder than necessary, and I will see you in the next one.